Appeasing the Squanderlust. Motion Picture Classic. March 1929. Long have the movie stars had a grievance. After they have made their money, there is no way to spend it. When they buy sable coats and Paris gowns, there is no one to see them. When they are through working for the week, there is no place to go. To answer Hollywood's need of a pet extravagance, a different destination, a brand new thrill, Agua Caliente, a Mexican Monte Carlo, has risen out of the bare plains and brown placid hills across the border. A $3 million pleasure resort, sumptuous even for screen stars, glittering even for a movie set. Half a world away from the great palace of chance on the Mediterranean, the little ivory balls click just as merrily here. The wheel of polished wood revolves just as dizzily. The numbers fall just as unluckily. Stepping down on the accelerator of the Hispano-Suiza, the tired picture player can make the 150 miles between Hollywood and Caliente in 3 hours. Unless some wretched pedestrian gets in the way, or a mean old speed cop interferes. It takes rather longer to come home, because it's so difficult to decide which of the roads one sees is really there. Sometimes a star makes the wrong choice and drives off a cliff. A swift race is necessary to beat the trek of moneyed tourists who are swarming to this deluxe playground from all over the United States to get a little change. It's the casino, usually, that gets their change. Ever since the resort opened its doors 7 months ago, it has been swamped with 10 applications for every available room, for Agua Caliente is a hotel as well as a gambling palace. Baron Long, who has been for years the czar of gilded games of chance in this part of the world, with 2 American businessmen, Wirt Bowman and James Crofton, were laughed at as crazy visionaries when they started negotiations for a 99-year lease on 1,500 acres of Mexican scenery. Now they cannot build extra bungalows fast enough to keep up with the crowd, eager to toss its money onto the green baize tables and to experience the ultimate thrill of excitement connoisseurs, gambling. Every morning, before the casino is permitted to open for the day, a staggering sum has to be paid on the indebtedness of the resort, but it is said that all debts will be cleared within another 12 months. I have just come back from a visit to Agua Caliente, and I am still seeing dollar spots before my eyes. Everywhere the glitter of gold pieces, the rustle of bills of huge denominations, $500 bills, $1,000 bills, fluttering to the tables like dead leaves, and with the same rustling sound. Page boys bring in huge locked bags stuffed with bills. The jeweled bags of the women about the table are swollen with their gains, unless they are limp with their losses. Make your plays, ladies and gentlemen, make your plays. The gold is not all on the gaming tables. Everywhere you look, there is glitter. The huge crystal chandeliers hung from the high ceilings, frescoed in the French manner, scatter golden light. Golden curtains drape the windows. Golden champagne bubbles from the bottles on the bar. The ornate grilled railings that fence off the alcoves where one can sit on rose velvet divans and watch, as from a theater box, the brilliant crowd surging through the rooms, are finished in bright gold. At one end of the huge room stands the bar, with the dear old familiar brass rail. But it was the tables themselves which drew me. After all, a cocktail or a highball is no great novelty to a Hollywood dweller. Sleek-looking young men in white flannel trousers and dark blue coats, the croupier, stood behind the roulette wheels. With suave and gracious gestures, they gathered in the fat bankrolls, their tiny rakes darting in and out among the counters with amazing rapidity. There was a hot smell of talcum powder, French perfumes, and imported cigarettes. The crowd about the tables was packed so close that the women's bare shoulders left powder streaks on the black coats of the men who stood beside them. And among the faces tense, mask-like, I recognized many of the picture people. Marie Prevost was placing bets on the spinning wheel, lip caught between teeth. Later in the evening, she opened her bag to show me the roll of bills she had won. At one time, I was nearly $400 to the good, if I'd only had sense enough to quit. She shrugged. I guess I made about $250. Mrs. Maloney, Phyllis Haver's mother, who was with Marie, said that her luck was poor, as usual. Ben Lyon saved them from further losses when he beckoned them to his refreshment table. I hadn't been in the hotel 5 minutes before someone rushed up, gasping, "Lillian Gish is here with D.W. Griffith's party, and she is betting her head off." However, the blonde lady was not Lillian Gish, but the wife of a big New York theatrical producer, noted for his bedroom farces. With an attendant pouring champagne into a tall glass which she kept before her, she tossed $50 and $100 bills onto the table as though they were so much stage money. While at the 21 table, she carefully placed a match by her champagne glass each time she made a blackjack. It was being whispered about the room that she had lost $35,000 the day before. While I stood beside her, she wrote a check for over $4,000 to cover her losses on a few minutes' play. When she left the table, she tipped the dealer $450. I was told that she was out from New York for a 3 weeks rest at Caliente. Her rest consisted of playing far into the night, with a fairly early morning start. With an enormous emerald-cut diamond ring on her left hand, a cigarette held tightly between brightly painted lips, and an air of lofty indifference when the croupier raked in her large bets, she was the center of interest at every table where she played. Indifferent, but she kept a tiny bottle of smelling salts hidden in the folds of her handkerchief. "What is the largest amount won here to date?" I asked Mr. Bowman, the president of the hotel syndicate. "Well, Raoul Walsh took away $15,000 when he was down here on his wedding trip. And Joe Skank bet $14,000 on one card in Chemin de Fer and won," he answered. "It is impossible to keep track of the losses and winnings," he exclaimed. "We don't check either. And unless one happens to be watching a player when exceptionally large amounts of money change hands, no one pays much attention to them." From information gathered from the owners, attendants, and waiters in the dining room, I learned that champagne is the favorite beverage with most of the stars, although Bacardi rum cocktails are in great demand just before lunch and dinner. All liquor served was brought from France. Each year, a connoisseur of liquors will select our supply in France. "We will use a boatload, which will be delivered direct to us here," said Mr. Crofton. "We do not permit drunkenness or disorderly conduct. If there is the least indication of either, one of our attendants quietly escorts the offender to his room. Neither do we welcome anybody or everybody to enjoy our hospitality. Naturally, this type of resort caters to well-to-do people, and we will not tolerate rowdies. However, we do draw a mixed crowd in the daytime, on weekends, and holidays. Then we often feed 2,000 people at lunch. Now that the horse races have started in Tijuana, we are deluged with people begging for rooms as well as food. The folks who told us we were crazy when we started this venture are singing a different tune. Why, we are paying dividends before the stock certificates are printed." I also was told that Tom Mix and Al Jolson pick out the table where craps is played to spend their money, while Clara Bow, Jack Gilbert, Gloria Swanson, and Norma Talmadge are fascinated with roulette. Lou Cody, Owen Moore, Norman Carey, and Buster Keaton prefer 21. Buster won $5,000 playing it the last time he was down there. No one seemed to be bragging about his losses. The movie folks are good spenders, but they are also good losers. A splendid orchestra provides dancing during dinner in the sumptuous red and silver dining room. Luncheon is served on the long porches that enclose a large outdoor tiled patio opening in the center of the casino. 6 young attractive girls who remind one of Lupe Velez or Dolores Del Rio, dressed in cute little red satin dresses, trimmed in black, relieve guests of their wraps as they enter the casino and dining room. With many gorgeous jewels adorning fair ladies and huge sums of money going over the gaming tables, I was expecting a holdup any minute. I felt quite at ease after I had seen the numerous big burly Mexican policemen carrying new Winchester rifles stationed all about the place.